Hi, welcome inside for another edition of SJHL Weekly. I'm your host, Clark Munroe, here at the ICAST Media Studios. We're having some weird things going on with social media today, so hopefully you're seeing this. Hopefully you're in the group, the live chats and everything. Twitter was acting funny. I don't know if Facebook was acting funny. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but again, hopefully you're in. If you are, let us know. Send us a comment, let us know. We have a lot to talk about today because last week we didn't have SJHL Weekly. So we had a lot to cover on Thursday's show of SJHL Insider. So we'll kind of recap everything that's going on in the last couple weeks because we're in our last month of the regular season, more or less here now. So the home stretch is on. We are going to recap a busy 10-game weekend. Again, as we enter the last month of the season, we're going to update you on an ever-evolving playoff picture. Lots of teams have clinched now. There's a big race for the final few spots, so we'll talk to you about that. Plus, we're going to announce Players of the Week, and we'll be joined by Yorkton Terriers goaltender Callum Craig. So there's a lot coming. Let's start by thanking our sponsors, Cantera Seeds, Capital Auto Mall, Canalta Hotels, SGEU, Sask Lotteries, UPL, Chevrolet, Great Western Brewing Company, SaskTel, RBC, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, and Batterstad. And like I said, if you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter Live, please hit the like button, hit the share button, comment in, let us know what you want to talk about. Let us know if you agree or disagree with what we're saying, or if you want us to talk about something that we haven't mentioned yet. Let us know in the comments. And joining me today to kind of run through all of this stuff, Jamie Neugebauer. Jamie, we were just watching the Blue Jays preseason spring training games before this started. So much is going on. The Olympics, the Blue Jays, a wild weekend in the SJHL. How are you coping with everything?
Well, I was going to say, now that the Olympics are over, we got to watch something. There's no more Olympics. Yeah. And I guess we could have a whole show about Olympics Weekly and break down what is or isn't going right, I guess, with Canadian sports. But that's for, I guess, other shows. This is about the SJHL. And yeah, you know what? It's bananas. It's bonkers. Like, this is going to be as fun a last month of the season as we've ever seen. And then the playoffs are going to be absolute chaos. I've had a bunch of teams, a bunch of coaches reach out being like, hey, how many upsets do you think there's going to be in round one? And I'm like, at this point, can we even call certain matchups upsets?
Right.
Like, that's how crazy it is.
It is crazy,
What
man.
league is like this? I don't know.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you about why it's so wild in a moment. But let's have a look first off at the weekend scoreboard recap as the Sask Lotteries look back hits the screen. So we'll get you with Friday's. We'll hit you with Friday's scoreboard, the Elk Ridge scorecard. There we go. We'll hit you with Friday's scorecard. As you can see, there was 6 games. It was a Super Friday, Nugsy. So there was a lot to talk about there. It was a super weekend. Yeah, all 12 teams were in action all weekend. You're right.
It was wild.
The Nipawin Hawks got a 3-2, a crucial for them, a big win, a big point, I should say, for Estevan, but a 3-2 win for Nipawin in overtime. Yorkton cleaned house with a 3-0 win over Humboldt at home. Battleford, same thing, a 4-0 win over Warman at home. Callum Craig with a shutout for Yorkton. Spencer Micknick with a shutout for Battlefords. Flin Flon, a nice 4-1 win at home over Melville. They continue their home undefeated streak. The Weyburn Red Wings, 4-1 win on the road in Kindersley. And then Melfort got a really big win for them, a 6-1 win over LaRange. On Saturday, we had 5 more games. Weyburn with an 8-1 win over Kindersley. Nipawin a 7-3 win over Humboldt. Again, those two teams clinched playoff spots at that point. Flin Flon with a 5-4 win in overtime over Melville. So Melville, they were right there. It was so close. But Flin Flon hangs on for their home undefeated streak. The Melfort Mustangs got another win over LaRange. Again, move them up in the standings. They have 8 straight wins now. And then Warman with a big, for them, a big 2-1 win over the Estevan Bruins. Huge loss at that moment for Estevan. However, on Sunday, Estevan had their 3rd game in 3 days, and they got a big win over the Battlefords North Stars. So they bounced back a little bit. So Nugsy, big weekend there. Let's dive into the headlines here to get the storylines. So we'll show the headlines here for the weekend. And we're going to start with the Melfort Mustangs. They're champs for a reason, Nugsy. 2 straight championships, of course, for the Melfort Mustangs. some people, some of us, maybe one of us, two of us, both of us, at some point during this season might have even written them off as maybe this is not their year. Maybe they're going to sell at the trade deadline. Maybe they're going to move on from this strategy. Maybe they're going to change things up. Nope, they stuck with it. They said, we trust our guys. We have faith in our room. And they've won 8 straight games. Now they're in 6th place. They were dead in the water, so to speak, in December, let's say. Even in early January, we weren't sure. And here we are. They're in 6th place now, looking like they've not secured a playoff spot, but their spot is looking a whole lot better than it was a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the 12th place L'Orange Ice Wolves, they put out a statement, the Ice Wolves did, about Kevin Kaminski taking a step back the rest of the year. So, you know, we hope for the best for Killer, whatever he's going through. Obviously, you got to take care of yourself. So there you go. Interesting rumor about who might be stepping in the rest of the year for L'Orange too. I don't know what we can say about that, but an interesting rumor.
Maybe for Thursday's
We'll
show. Save
that. But anyways, the Melfort Mustangs needed to take care of business. They did, even with maybe a bit of a knock to Zayden Saddlemeyer. He didn't play in that game, the second game over the weekend, but Tristan Ziola jumped into that line with Englund and Mushumansky, and they turned out to be just fine. Outscored L'Orange 11-4 over the weekend, outshot them 75-45. The last time the Melfort Mustangs didn't really play very well, it was against the L'Orange Ice Wolves. So the Mustangs, and then they lost that game. We felt like, uh-oh, they're in trouble now, right?
Yeah.
That was 8 games ago. Now they're have an 8-game winning streak. You know, I'll ask you a question then, Clark. Over the course of the year, I think we could agree that Tommy Rees and Boston Harkness probably had the inside 2 edge, maybe, for D-Man of the year.
Right.
Between those two, you flip a coin because they've both been awesome.
Yeah.
But Bo Eisner has entered the chat.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know. Does he belong with those two because of the year that he's having now, you think?
Yeah, I don't think definitely I think the impact that he's had since the trade deadline specifically, but since, let's say, before the Viking Cup, I think that it definitely puts him into the realm of the discussion for Defenseman of the Year.
Yeah.
There's going to be some guys who Gavin Granger wants no part of that conversation. Ethan Andrews wants no part of that conversation. Et cetera, et cetera. But I would say, he's absolutely now entered the chat for the top 3.
Well, he's absolutely on fire. He's on a long point
And
streak.
you know what? Coming into the season, before the season even started, I would have said, no doubt he'll be in the conversation for top D-man. He was that kind of player coming into the season.
Well, he's on my fantasy team.
Absolutely. So coming into the season, I wouldn't have argued that whatsoever. Right. Obviously, with the way the first half went, we weren't quite sure. But like you said, absolutely, he's jumped in for sure. Yeah,
and obviously, you know, we were concerned, maybe we'll say, over the course of the year, and I'm sure Trevor Blevins was too, about the production of his team, being able to score some goals. And one way that you need to, especially in this day and age, it's not just, you know, D-man moving pucks, giving pucks to guys to go score goals. It's that 4th D-man in, that guy being a little bit of an adventurous. Sure. I think that's really commonplace these days, you know, to have a D-man below the goal line, below the net. How unheard of would that have been in the 90s and in 2000? Like, you just wouldn't see it, where that guy would get in trouble for that kind of thing.
Right.
And obviously, I wouldn't say Trevor Blevins has ever held his D-man back that way. We saw lots of free range and guys over the years, you know, on the Melfort Mustangs. You think about, you know, Chase Freetmore, you think about Cale Tosh, you know, you think about, the list goes on, Leith Olofsson, he was licensed. You keep going down, like there's so many, you know, there's been so many good offensive defensemen for Melfort that have been able to go and play. But Bo, you know, he just stays within his game and he finds a way. And he's such a great skater. Yeah. He's so powerful. He's so smart. He's a grown bleep human being. He's a grown-up man. I think that's a big piece of it. If you're going to win, you need grown-ups. Yeah. And Bo Eisner's a grown-up. A big fan of his. And as I wrote in the players, I guess I shouldn't, spoiler alert. He's the defenseman of the week. And I wrote about it this week coming up on the website. It'll come up in about 30 minutes. But I wrote that his commitment is coming soon, so stay tuned.
Shout out to Lincoln Fisher, by the way. I just went to like the defenseman stats just to see where everybody sits, and Lincoln Fisher is actually leading the league in scoring right now for defensemen.
Yeah,
he's tied with Gavin Granger, but he snuck up there.
Well,
he was up there all along.
There's a lot of D-men that are catalysts offensively,
Yeah.
For their team. Obviously, we've seen that with Ryland Pierce, with Weyburn. We've seen that with Vinny Palmerine, with Warman.
Fersen Lindorf.
And Bo Eisner leads the Melfort Mustangs in scoring.
Yeah,
so
right.
There you go.
Xavier Fauchon and Flin Flon.
Yeah, the list goes on.
Yeah, we have a great group of defensemen. Actually, now that I look at the list of stats, the conversation for Defenseman of the Year is going to be really interesting, I think, this year.
Well, I think the conversation around the Viking Cup team, and I know I keep bringing it back, but forgive me. I think it's an interesting snapshot of our league, okay? The thing that people were saying was that the real superpower of this team was the D-corps.
Sure.
And it was hard to argue, and that does reflect on the bigger picture. And I think if there's a Viking Cup next year team, and I pray there is, because it'd be so interesting to see all these 06s get a shot. I think maybe the forwards will be the stars of that show.
And the goalies.
Well, they'll
next
be
year.
Unbelievable goalies too. But anyways, interesting stuff.
Absolutely.
Goalies would have been fine if there wasn't injuries and stuff falling through this year too. But would have been nice to see Charlie there, for example, but it didn't work out. That's the way she goes.
Definitely. All right, well, we'll move on to the headline number 2. We've talked about the Mustangs' 8 straight wins. Headline number 2, clinchers. We had 3 more teams clinched. So we had Flin Flon and Battleford's clinched last week and the week before. And now this week we had Yorkton, Nipawin, and Weyburn all clinch a spot. So we have 5 teams confirmed. Positioning, no clue. It's still, I'm going to say, wide open in terms of those 5 teams moving around. We know that they'll be the top 5, though. And mathematically, it's not confirmed, but we're 96%, I'd say, sure, that those are going to be the top 5 teams. Where they finish, we don't know yet. But let's talk about the Yorkton Terriers to start. They've been red hot forever, it feels like now. They finally got their spot clinched, even though we kind of saw it coming the way that they've been playing. Big, nice, clean win over the Humboldt Broncos over the weekend was a nice way to do it.
Yeah, and you know what? An interesting theme around the league is, and any coach will talk about the importance of special teams, and that goes without saying, but the top 4 teams in the league have the top 4 power plays in the league. How often do you see that? Now, the Clippers actually have killed penalties very, very well all year, so they're in the top ranks there for penalty killing. As have the Humboldt Broncos, by the way. They've done a nice job killing penalties too. But power plays, in this day and age, teams are really good off the cycle, defending, D-zone structure, that kind of thing. We talked about how good the D-corps are in this league right now as well. So it's not easy to score 5-on-5 right now. So special teams is important. Yorkton's penalty power play has been good all year. 22.4% power play overall, which is second in the league right now. 24.2% at home. Take penalties against Yorkton at the Westland Arena especially, you are in big, big trouble. Yorkton is close to 200 goals on the year now as well. And you talk about where they were a couple years ago. Emery Lawson and his staff deserve so much credit for the way that they've turned this whole ship around into a powerhouse. And obviously, it wasn't that long ago that Yorkton was a legitimate player, as one of the powers of this league in the mid-2010s even, and maybe earlier. So, it's a center that we talked about should be where they are. And so, that doesn't take away from Emery and the boys. They're doing a terrific job. And the last thing I'll say is, obviously they're 9-1-0 in the last 10. And Callum Craig, who is our guest today on the show, by the way, into the top 10 in all-time goals, all-time wins, pardon me, for a Yorkton Terriers goaltender.
Very cool.
There's some good names on that list.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Very exciting stuff. And then when it comes to Nipawin and Weyburn, Nipawin won 3 games last week. Weyburn won 2 games last week. They both clinched as well. So now those 3 teams that I just mentioned, Yorkton, Nipawin, and Weyburn, they're all within 2 points of each other or tied. So like I said, that could all switch. If either of those 3 teams gets hot in the next 2 weeks or so, I could see them getting even closer to Battleford's, depending on, of course, how Battleford's does over the next couple weeks. So none of these positions are set in stone for sure. But 2 very, very good teams as well, Nipawin and Weyburn.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about Tad Cozen's candidacy for Coach of the Year. And I think there's, obviously he's in the conversation. I think you'd be crazy to say he isn't in the conversation. But the argument that maybe someone could make is, it's not like he inherited a team. He recruited and built this team and then brought them into this year. But it's not just the fact that he's got so much talent all over his squad. It's not just the fact that he's got Gage Roberts at the back end. It's that he's got all these skilled guys up front be it Mason Karkachuk, be it Braden Jockums, be it Eric Hoynes, the list goes on and on, not leaving anybody on purpose, to play the right way, to play hard, to play heavy, to play defensively. Their penalty kill is over 87%, Clark, over 87%. That'll do the job. That'll do the job. That'll do the job. And they do it tough. They'll do it, they'll score. And, this weekend was kind of a microcosm for them. They won a hard-fought 3-2 game against the Estevan Bruins, and they blew the doors off the Humboldt Broncos. And that's, the way they'll do it. They'll do it either way. We saw them grinding out games to start the year, and they're now starting to find ways to score lots of goals. They scored 10 goals on 71 shots over the weekend. Again, whenever you hit double digits over a weekend, you're doing something right, especially when you got Gage Roberts and even Colton Scott in the sticks. So, because of all that, people sort of judge a coach of the year candidate based on what did he get out of his team. And obviously, Tad has a great team, but it's a situation where he's gotten them to play a winning way. And I think Tad deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, sorry if I seem like I'm up in the air right now, Nugsy. I'm just trying to figure out all of our live broadcasting things, and I just got a phone call in the middle of the show, so I'm just trying to all over the place. But as you mentioned, the Nipawin Hawks, they have so many things going right for them right now. All departments, all zones, everything seems to be going pretty well.
And I think health, obviously, is such a huge part of it. That was the biggest issue that they were having around the turn of the year, maybe, was that they couldn't stay healthy. They were sick. They were banged up. My understanding is that Brendan Olsen was not on his deathbed. I don't want to use that as a joke too much, but but like they were guys who were really sick with the Hawks. Now they're really deep and really healthy. They still don't have Noah Heinrich, but other than that, they seem like they're all put it together. And you keep guys together. We talked on the SJHL Insider Show, I think, a couple shows ago about the value of keeping lines together a little bit longer, maybe, than some coaches do or tend to or have in the past years. And, again, you keep seeing the rewards of Hoynes between Shields and Karkachuk over and over again. You have versatility elsewhere to put on different lines, and that allows that too. Brendan Olsen can play wherever, Braden Jockums can play wherever, Jack Jensen can center a line of skill or of grit too. Like, they've got versatile guys too, and Connor Watson's going to score wherever he is. So, there's a lot to like, and I think Tad deserves more credit than just, he's got a great team. So I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, the team building that went into this Nipawin Hawks roster is very impressive, and it should be a case study, honestly, studied for teams that want to maybe do this in the future.
It's a catchphrase right now. It's like, we're going to try to do what Nipawin does. And when we do previews for the next season, if, God willing, we're still around, they keep us around, thumbs up of keep us around. How many times in the preview are you, like, between, Warman, between Larange, to Humboldt to some extent, if they don't get any,
they're going to reference Nipawin.
You go down the list, other teams, Kindersley, et cetera, they're going to be like, we're going to try to keep our young guys together like Nipawin. We should have a Nipawin counter for other teams in previews.
We will for next year.
No, but seriously, like, it's a great job there that they did to keep everybody together in a small community as well like that. So,
and then to flip the script and go to Weyburn, similar storyline, different way they got there. There was a moment in the last couple of weeks where we had an open conversation about what's going on with the Weyburn. It just doesn't seem to be clicking right now. They had lost a couple of games in their last 10 games. Nugsy, like, they're I hate to use the word pedestrian, but they're a pedestrian 5-4-0-1, despite winning their last two. But over the last 10, I think there's a spot, or there's a conversation to be had about if how we feel about the Weyburn Red Wings. However, in saying that, I still feel very strongly that they are suited so well for a playoff run. Again, another one after going to the final last year. So where do you sit right now with Weyburn within that conversation of what we just talked about with Yorkton and Nipawin?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that they did over the weekend was score on the power play.
Sure.
I think the power play has actually been pretty inconsistent all year, and I think that's probably a frustration. But what hasn't been consistent? And I actually got in touch with this guy because I thought it was kind of funny, and I'm not taking any credit because all we do is blab. That's what you and I do for our job. Yeah. But I said to Josh Sale like a couple weeks ago, I said, man, Josh Sale is the guy that needs to step up. and produce a bit more. He was leading the team in scoring, so
Right.
I'm being harsh.
Yeah.
I just have such a high opinion of Josh. And I said to him, man, funny enough, I said, maybe Josh Sale can produce a bit more. And then now he's got goals in 1,000 games in a row, and he's just totally being a dominant force, whether or not
good player.
Red Wings, good. He was always a good player. It's
Right.
just whether he could put it together and be consistent. And they're finding a way. Their power play is surging too. They've scored 12 goals on 67 shots. Over a sweep of Kindersley, and things look like in some tough shape there in Kindersley, and I just don't know what's going on up there. But, the Weyburn Red Wings, you mentioned it, kind of a pedestrian little stretch. But if we know one thing about Cody Mapes, he can fire his boys up.
Yeah.
He can get them going. He's an emotional guy. He coaches on emotion. He wants his guys to play with emotion, and when they do, that's good. They're still without Lucas Schmidt, which is not ideal, of course. So the rest of the guys need to step up. And sometimes at this point in the season, you need a little bit of kick in the butt where it's saying, okay, Lucas is not here. Can't let that be an excuse. And you know what? Like right now, I think if we can look at the standings quickly here for
Sure,
a
throw 'em
second,
up. We can throw up
the
the
Weyburn
standings.
Red Wings are not in a home ice advantage.
No, they're just
spot.
outside of it.
They're in 5th, and so they would not have home ice advantage against Nipawin. By the way, the second best home team in the SJHL, the Nipawin Hawks. So you don't want to be facing the Nipawin Hawks round one because honestly, on talent, you kind of flip a coin to me between Nipawin and Weyburn.
Yeah.
They're two outstanding teams who are outstandingly coached. So you don't want that 5th spot if you're Weyburn. You really want that 4th or more, obviously. But
There's a scenario too, Nugsy, where I look at, and there should be X's hypothetically beside Yorkton, Nipawin, and Weyburn on this graphic, but they're 5 points back of Battleford's, and they have the same amount of games left.
Yeah.
So it would be, that's only 6.
Battleford's has 2 games at the Whitney.
They only have 6 games left. So it's going to be a very tall task for them to get there, but there is a scenario where I could see them gaining enough points at least to move into second place. Battleford's, would have to lose probably 4 of their last 6 games for that to happen, hypothetically. But it's an interesting scenario up in the top right now because there's also a scenario where Battleford's could finish in 1st.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute, though. But it is a very good top 5. Those 5 teams are well suited for where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
They all deserve to be there. Now it's going to be who can finish in the top 4.
I mean, we could move forward to talking about, I think Flin Flon was the next one, if I'm not mistaken.
We're going to talk about the bottom group of playoff pick teams.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Melville.
Flin Flon was the next
if you
one
want to
after that.
include
You can talk about
Melville
Flin
in
Flon.
that.
We can go to Flin
Well,
Flon.
but my point is the Melville Flin Flon series.
Right, yep.
Melville played so well on Saturday.
Exactly.
And Mike Reagan was not happy with his team, especially in the 3rd period. Melville dominated Flin Flon in the 3rd period, especially on Saturday, to a tune that you don't see too much at the Whitney. Mike was not happy with his team's killer instinct, I guess. He felt like could have put both these games away, but got to give Doug Johnson and his guys credit back-to-back up at the Whitney. And, they got, I guess, an illness situation maybe with Matthew Spencer Dahl. So the former Flin Flon bomber, Matthew Urbani, has to jump in. Massimo Urbani, pardon me. Had to jump in for his first appearance as a Melville Millionaire in the middle of a game at the Whitney after he was a Flin Flon bomber and had some health issues himself.
And
so it
side
didn't work
note to
out,
that, super good to see Massimo
Oh,
on the roster, healthy because he got hurt. They traded for him at the deadline, and then he got injured immediately.
Right.
So it's good to see him back. I was happy to see his name pop up.
Yeah, interesting goalie situation now in Melville.
Yeah.
They got Spencer Dahl, they got Pat Nod, and they got Urbani. So I don't know how you run with that. But I mean that does jive with roster rules. Like you are allowed 3 goalies, an extra roster spot if you have 3 goalies. So it does work out that way. And so it's not a bad situation to have if those guys can somehow stay happy and sharp. But either way, the Bombers found a way to win. And I think obviously there were some grumpy Melville Millionaires fans as a result of maybe a call in overtime and the clock kind of stopping during a power play Flin Flon and whatnot. And I'm sure it was just a human error, like these things happen, and whatnot. And to the credit of Doug Johnson, I reached out to him to talk about it a little bit, and he wasn't complaining too much about it. Like, I'm sure he wasn't happy, but he wasn't like, I'm not going to worry about excuses. Like, we could have found a way to close out this game and win it, actually. And Melville deserved, actually, to win it, even though they were losing by a couple goals in the third period. They deserved to score maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, and Charlie had to figure things out for Flin Flon, because they were not getting pucks out of their own zone and through the neutral zone like they usually do. The Flin Flon Bombers are back in your face in 3 seconds, usually at the Whitney Forum. So, not a bad wake-up call for Flin Flon to find who, by the way, they won the game, and then they have Nipawin on Tuesday. But, the streak for Flin Flon for home stays perfect, and we'll see if they can figure that out.
They're running out of chances to mess it up.
Yeah.
So
6, what is it, 4 more games?
I think they got at home, 3 or 4 more games. I think 4, topic number 3 in the headlines. We skipped over to 4, so let's go back to 3.
Sorry.
No, it's totally okay. It makes more sense that way. Melville, they're looking okay right now. Estevan figured out how to get back into the groove a little bit over the last week and a bit, so they picked up some points. But if you look at the standings again, we might as well bring it up one more time, the league standings. We'll now focus our attentions from the 6th to the 10th spot. Of course, so you see Melfort there with 48 games played, so they have 8 games remaining, 52 points. Estevan with just 6 games remaining, 52 points. Melville has 9 games remaining, so they have the most left. They're at 50, so you'd have to give them a lot of benefit there in terms of maybe considering them having an advantage at this point. And then you see Kindersley, they have the fewest games left, just 5. And Humboldt, they have, I guess, 7? But they're a few points back now. So when you look at that, it's kind of, inching closer towards there's only going to be maybe 1 spot left. So the headline was down to 1. Is there only 1 spot being fought for, do you think, at this point?
So it's not a real premise, it's an imagined premise. What I mean by that is, obviously all those teams are still in the hunt for 6, 7, and 8. But I just feel so good about Melfort and Melville right now that the premise to me as we sit here right now is it's kind of up to Estevan, Kindersley, and Humboldt to duke it out for that last spot. And you know what? All those teams could prove me wrong and go on a big run, and for sure Melfort and Melville could have a couple bad weeks, and I could be totally wrong in my premise. But just what I've seen from
we can
Melfort
bring up the
later,
graphic too as well for the playoff hunt as well.
So here's the way the picture's in. Those 5 teams have clinched their spots. They are in the playoffs. And very likely that will be the top 5 as well. As we talked about, it would take something really bizarre for them not to be.
Melfort, 8 games left. What is that? 16 points possibly. So they, with 52 points, could get up to 68. So Yorkton, Nipawin and Weyburn would have to lose all their games, basically.
Yeah. So basically,
so we've pretty much settled our.
So the top half and the bottom half, and then it's kind of an interesting thing, and we'll obviously have long time to talk about it with insiders and the playoff preview show and everything to talk about the matchups and the potential matchups. But certainly that's the way it looks, and I know, again, I just feel so good right now about the way Melfort and Melville can play, and Melville did get their Whitney trip out of the way. They got a point from it, and so they're okay with that, I'm sure. I'm sure they would have liked to, but you get 8 points from I mean, well, actually, Flin Flon's been to overtime 5 times at the Whitney Forum this year.
Fair enough.
That was the first game that actually ended in overtime. The other 4 were in a shootout, actually. And then I talked to Reed Arbery actually about this in Camrose, because he scored in overtime against Sate in Camrose, and I said, that's the first time the Flin Flon Bombers have ended a game in overtime this year. He's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, you always go to a shootout. You win, but you go to a shootout. But anyways, it was kind of he was like, oh, I didn't realize that.
So with that playoff hunt graphic, though, in mind, we can also look at the remaining strength of schedule. Do you want to do that?
Sure.
Now? Let's do that.
Yeah, so I decided to switch it up because previously we had been talking in terms of win percentage. But I thought points percentage is good because those are games that you at least get points out of. So we just switched it up. So here's average opponent point percentage for the games remaining. And I think, these numbers switch a lot depending on what weekend it is and whatever.
Literally every day,
because they play, you play a team and then for example, Humboldt's average opponent there is some of the lowest, and the Broncos have pretty, and again, I don't mean any disrespect, but they've got a schedule
It's
that
favorable
they feel okay
to what their
about.
situation
but the
is.
point, but that being said, it's about actually to get better because they're just about to face Battlefords twice,
Right.
Including the SJHL Game of the Month.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Broncos, they're in 10th now, and that's including 2 against Battleford. So they've got a bunch of Larange and Warman and Kindersley the rest of the way,
Yeah,
which is
I
what
think
you
it's
want.
I think it's Larange, Kindersley, Warman for their final 5 games.
Yeah, and one of those Warman games is the last SJHL Game of the Month too. So
Right.
they do have 2 more SJHL Games of the Month coming up for you on SJHL Max TV.
Yeah,
So make sure
that
you stay tuned
Kindersley
for
game
that.
between Humboldt and Kindersley is going to be very important.
Yeah,
it could be very
It could
important.
decide 8th, really
Yeah.
could. And again, you never count out the roster that Kindersley has. You never count out a team coached by Braden Klamosko.
Absolutely.
And the way that Oliver Phillips especially is starting to produce as well for Humboldt, the way that Brady Holtvold has played. So it's interesting stuff. And then, obviously, it's going to be, it's all the changes weekend to weekend because you get rid of a couple tough games and that impacts the schedule. We'll really narrow down, which specific team and where, as the season gets closer to the end of the regular season and Insider and whatnot. But I think that's an interesting graphic to just see, who has got a tough little road by the end here.
You mentioned Melville getting their Flin Flon trip out of the way for their final 9 games. They have 9 games left. A lot of Melville's games left are Yorkton, Weyburn, and Estevan, if I remember correctly. So a lot of intra-divisional games. So that'll be really important for them to kind of show up in those because they're chasing Estevan, Weyburn and Yorkton, not so much, but those could also be, depending on where they finish, first-round opponents. So you're going to want to show up for those games, start sending messages to those types of teams. Estevan's in a similar boat. There are also a lot of intra-divisional Bungie division matchups the rest of the way. So it's going to be, the finish is going to be wild. We know that. We've been talking about it forever now. It's going to be great. I guess we're just into our last segment here, or last headline. What am I trying to say? Headline. Which is odds and ends. Of course, we do that pretty much every week. So anything to wrap up, but at the same time, we wanted to talk about Team Canada a little bit. I know that's kind of a weird spot to talk about it, but it's Canada, some things around that. And then a little chat. I wanted to bring in our director, Bryce, in a moment to talk about his Olympic experience.
We should say that the Battlefords North Stars are our first division champions as well, which we didn't mention.
Right.
So we got to mention congratulations to the Battlefords North Stars.
Did we put that on the Nutrient division on the divisional graphic, the standings? Can we throw up the divisional standings? We didn't. Okay. But here's the divisional standings. You can see on the right there.
They've won it.
Battlefords has won the Nutrient division, so that is settled.
Oh, we did mention it on the Insider.
We mentioned it on Thursday, but we didn't put it on the graphic. So we'll get that switched up for next time.
Congratulations. They did split. They beat Ormond. They lost to Estevan on Sunday.
Yeah.
They've scored the 2nd most goals this league. Talk about Coach of the Year. Don't see too many rookie coaches winning it, no matter how good of a job they do.
Right.
But we got to have a Connor Logan discussion. And I'm so glad, and again, I was having a couple conversations. I'm so glad it's not up to us to pick who the Coach of the Year is because, man, that's going to be a very interesting vote.
Yeah, definitely. But we wanted to talk about our Team Canada thoughts a little bit, maybe really quickly, just a little fun chat here.
Yeah.
So what are you feeling? We have to remember, there's like this referendum out about Hockey Canada right now because we didn't win either the women's or the men's. But at the same time, both teams were 1 shot away from winning either game. So it's not like we got embarrassed on an international stage,
No.
I don't think. I think they performed great. It was just Team USA, man, they came to play on both sides, both men and women. And huge shout out to them. Honestly, congrats. And then there's going to be, of course, given our country, conversations about, well, this guy didn't make it. Well, this girl didn't make it. Why didn't she make it? Why didn't he make it? Okay, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, not much. Just we were Canada's men were clearly the best team at the tournament to me, and they had to find a way to win against the Czechs. They had to find a way to win against the Finns. They just found a way to lose against the Americans.
Yeah.
They got goalied. Like Connor Hellebuck was outstanding, and that's the difference. McKinnon empty net, Taves empty net, McDavid breakaway, Celebrini breakaway. You score 2 or 3 of those, something like that, probably Canada wins in regulation. And the States, very, very limited. Didn't notice the Kachucks very much. Didn't notice Austin Matthews very much. The Hughes boys are animals, obviously. We all know that. But hey, there you go. That's the way it goes, and I'm not worried because we were by far the best team in the final, especially, and it just didn't Just didn't work out.
Yeah, like
and the Americans,
Nathan McKinnon scores that on that side, open side of the net.
And
100 times out of 100.
Crosby's hurt, so he didn't even play the last couple of games, and his leadership would have been a lot. And clearly, I think McKinnon wasn't 100% the last couple of games too.
Could make
he
that
played
argument.
pretty good. So again, it was fine. I don't understand. I guess it's hard to just expect like everybody who's so dominant when they play in the NHL to then also be dominant like at this level, and given the role and the ice time and whatnot. Suzuki, had his moments, but you watch him for Montreal. How good is he, right?
He only played like 10 minutes in the gold medal game.
Marner, like when he, we don't know what he can do. Yeah. But was he great this whole tournament? Hardly noticed him.
I didn't notice it much in the gold medal game.
Right. So you go down the list of a bunch of Canadian guys.
I'm used to that as a
right.
Leafs
Well,
fan.
fair enough. But I mean, he had that one overtime winner. And he picked his moment.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, he
But
obviously.
it's interesting. You have a team full of super players, and they still look to like a couple guys to figure it out. And so hey, if you're like a Yorkton Terriers fan, Nipawin Hawks fan, even Battleford's, like having sort of a clear top line, and you can still win that way. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the big story here was
story.
that our director, Bryce.
Yeah, because our guy Steven was yelling at us the whole time.
Yeah, Bryce is back from Italy, and Bryce was at the Olympics doing broadcasting. So we wanted to bring you in, Bryce, give you a moment if you're cool with that, and just kind of tell us about your experience over there in Milan Cortina.
Yeah, it was great. It sounds like you guys are coping real well also.
Right.
With the Canada
Oh, yeah. Bryce is American, so he's loving this
yeah.
conversation.
USA.
Sorry, was there a game? I don't even know.
Sorry, I think your mic's cutting out, Bryce. We might have to
What's
cut this segment short.
Bryce is from North Dakota, which is basically Canada.
Yeah. Anyways, Bryce, tell us about because you did curling, so tell us about that.
Olympics, good time. Yeah, nothing but curling for 20 days.
Yeah.
I was a part of Pokegate. I was on that game. I was actually part of. I was shooting Oscar Eriksson, Sweden, during that viral clip the whole time.
Yes.
Got to hang out with Snoop Dogg for about an hour, so I was good and ate well. Yeah. The big thing, I'm gonna be missing my 3 catered meals a day. I missed that. Now I got to think of what am I gonna eat every meal.
Yeah.
It's a little.
ICAST media is a little bit different than the Olympic Village.
Yeah. Other than that, it was good, man. I had a good time.
Good.
And the USA winning. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I just want to say huge kudos to Bryce for being here today, considering he flew home and barely got home, and he's here. So he's putting in the effort. Thanks, Bryce.
Yeah, and
tough guy.
I had a few nice dates with our coworker Sean Simons too. That was really nice.
Sean, who isn't people watching our show probably aren't familiar with Sean, but Sean's been working with IKS for a long time now, and he's big in the TSN world. Sean, he's been doing TSN stuff with CFL games and curling for a really long time. So him and Bryce actually went together in the same crew. So that was pretty cool that you guys were together for that.
Yeah, 3 guys from Regina.
Right.
That was the whole crew out of 120. So yeah, I was very proud to be there.
Yeah.
To represent Regina. Me and Ben Hebert.
You know who? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know who we should get on Thursday? Jeremy Corrigan on SJHL Insider to get his thoughts.
We definitely do want to get Sienna Murray, Michelle McKenna maybe.
Yeah.
Alex Clark.
Yeah.
Something like that as
We'd
well.
love to get
Obviously,
those
we're
ladies
so
on
proud
as well,
of those
yeah.
ladies for.
Terry
that
Jungwanzik.
I'm not as proud as Terry. No, I'm just kidding. No, obviously, we were in touch with Sienna a little bit and just telling her how proud of we were too, and she did a great job and refereed in the gold medal game even. So,
yeah. Oh, cool. And I think you have this in Nugs and Notes, so I'm not even going to mention it. But there was a comment from Terry on Facebook that we'll read in a minute. But anyways, thank you, Bryce, for sharing that, and welcome back. Appreciate you being back. And
we missed you.
Missed you, but awesome time. Awesome that you had a good time.
I missed you too. Welcome back. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Good. We'll see if we can get some spaghetti or something for you over the next little while.
This would be like this garbage. He was in Italy.
Little shellfish linguine.
Oh my God.
Now he's a connoisseur.
Now you're just bragging. Now you're just
best
bragging.
venison I ever had over there. It was great.
Let's get to Nugs and Notes.
No, we got 2 other things left. Okay, fine. It's Nugs and Notes. No, we can do Nugs and Notes. Let's do it. Put the Tourism Saskatchewan highlight of the week in Nugs and Notes for me, will you?
That's right.
There we go.
Forgot about it.
That's okay. Just mention it in there.
Yes, we'll get to the highlight
Good
of the week.
effort, but still an
Yeah,
hour.
right. The referees was the first thing. Congratulations to all those fine SJHL people. We're very proud of you. 200 games played was mentioned by one of the comments. Can we throw up that comment?
Terry's comment there,
It was in Nugs and Notes, so thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
Finley Radloff, 200 games in the SJHL, all for one team. You don't see too many 200 game guys anymore. You used to see that more. But, guys don't stick around.
What is that?
Blah,
Like
blah, blah.
basically 4 full seasons.
Yeah, it's a long
so
time.
So you'd have to start as a full-time 17-year-old, a full-time 18-year-old, and
Local
then,
boy there, his family lives there.
Awesome
So,
stuff.
cool for Finn. I believe, and someone's going to yell at me and say I'm wrong, I believe there's only 2 200-game guys in the league right now.
Right now.
With Boston Harkness, of course. And
Pretty
Finn
sure you're right.
Radloff. So
Yeah.
someone yell at me and probably tell me I'm an idiot,
pretty
but
sure
that's
you're right.
okay. I think those are the 2. So congratulations to Finn, obviously a great kid. And there's lots of 100-game guys around and 150-game guys, and the Perlingers are like 150, and they're 07s,
They're 18.
which is wild. Like, they've been in this league forever.
They're gonna be
Lincoln Fisher's
300
been
game
around
players
for
by
a
the
while
time.
too.
Yeah.
If they stick around, which
Wow.
is pretty cool. And my good buddy, and this is not an SJHL news, but I'm going to say it anyways, because if you've been paying attention to the Centennial Cup over the years, you've seen the Collingwood Blues a bunch. But the Collingwood Blues GM, who's the mastermind of that terrific organization for years and years, Mike Tarantino, he is now going to be the head coach and GM of the Oakville Blades, where I was for years as well, where I worked with him. And so I expect Oakville to be good again soon. But if we were following the Melfort Mustangs there in Oakville. Obviously, they played Collingwood. And whatnot, so you'll know about that. And yeah, so happy for Mike Tarantino, but obviously even more happy for Mike Reagan, who has hit 600
wins.
I believe it was on February the 7th when they hosted Weyburn. They won, and Mike won his 600th game. He's over 1,000 games coach now, been around the block, and certainly a candidate for Coach of the Year, and he's only won one Coach of the Year over his whole time, which is absolutely insane, and he's absolutely in the running, for this year with what he's done with that team. So
Yeah,
there
absolutely. Well, there you go.
the Tourism Saskatchewan. Player highlight of the week. Do some tourism in Saskatchewan. Watch this highlight.
It's that one back to Ward. Back up front. What a pass to Arbery! And he gets robbed. An absolutely beautiful save from Spencer Dahl.
You love that. Matthew Spencer-Dahl, because he doesn't have the qualification for goalies, he doesn't get talked about enough because we try to mention him as much as we can, but he's like, what is it? I think me and Kelly were doing the math earlier. On the website right now, you need 900 minutes to qualify, and he's at like 829 or something. So he's 80 minutes away, 70 minutes away from qualifying. So if he plays 2 games this weekend, he'll qualify. I don't know how much that number moves, though. How much does that number move? Because it changes throughout the season.
It shows up on the website.
Yeah.
And then
So anyways, Matthew Spencer-Dahl is like 2nd in the league in save percentage right now. And he had a huge weekend, even if he was sick, in Flin Flon, and a great save there by Matthew Spencer-Dahl. So shout out to him. And hopefully we can get his name on the top 10 leaderboard soon for save percentages and goals against, because he's very much up there. So anyways, that's good. Thank you, Nugsy, for Nugs and Notes. I think with that, we'll take a break. I think our guest is in, Callum Craig of the Yorkton Terriers, coming up after the break, so stick around.
The Price Beat Guarantee is back at Capital GMC in Regina. We will beat any price on any new vehicle from any competitor, or you get $500 cash guaranteed. The Price Beat Guarantee at Capital GMC in Regina.
At Vatterstad, we're partnering with North American farmers to create the perfect emergence. We're doing this with new and innovative tillage, planting, and seeding solutions, optimized for the field conditions that you face, and with industry-leading capacities to help you get the job done in short windows of time, so you can maximize yields. Vatterstad, we look forward to growing together.
Mister.
Every ticket you buy funds programs all across Saskatchewan, like sports. Buy your tickets today.
In the last decade, the construction industry has reduced injuries by 46%. That's as many injuries prevented that would fill several stadiums. Find out more at scsaonline.ca.
Feeling like your dreams are out of reach? RBC has programs and resources to help you open the door. With RBCX Music, RBC Training Ground, and RBC Scholarships, your idea of your highest potential happens here.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
All right, welcome back inside. SJHL Weekly here. Clark with Nugsy, and we're going to be joined on the video chat now by Yorkton Terriers goaltender Callum Craig. Callum, welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
So the big news for you as an individual over this past weekend was that you entered the top 10 all-time of Yorkton Terriers goalie wins. To me, that was like, I had to like double check. I was like, whoa, already? You're having a great season, obviously, but that must have been a pretty cool thing to hear over the weekend.
Oh yeah, obviously, like, just like even top 10 wins for like an organization that old is just such an incredible thing, and like so glad. Like, even I think on the Facebook comments of when Calvin put that out, the guy in 9th was like, I can't wait for you to break my record, and that just is really special to me.
Well, you're trending in the right direction, that's for sure, Callum. Things are going pretty well. Let's just talk about the season this year. Obviously, like you said, we're putting up the wins for the Terriers, but you've been a big part of that. So overall this season, what's been going right for you, let's say?
I'd say, like, I think just this year I've really been working like mental game, and like I think my positioning has been really good too. Like, I think just everything's clicking right now, just for everyone on the team, like not even me, and then just going well for everyone. I think is just a great kind of feeling going into playoffs here, just on such a high note.
Yeah, for sure. No, I got to ask you, Callum, trade deadline, obviously, you've had a terrific season from the beginning, so it's not like with trade deadline and everything changed. But obviously the way that your team was built maybe changed a little bit at the trade deadline, if I could put it that way. Bringing in Gavin Bartha, bringing, Pales back, bringing in Nathan Gray, who loves our show, by the way. Apparently he wants to come on the show too. But anyways, that's the topic of another time. Talk about the trade deadline. How excited were you to see, and obviously no disrespect to anybody you had before, but to see them kind of double down on a decor, to make them deep, to give, Tommy maybe a few more minutes of rest on that bench, because for a goalie, obviously you're only as good as the guys in front of you. You know that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like Bartha coming in there, like I think we were coming back on the bus from Humboldt, and he shows me a video of him blocking a shot in the game, and then he just has no helmet. He gets a penalty for it after, and I'm like, just having those guys, like even Pales make some great plays, big block shots, and obviously Reeser just blocks everything in sight. I don't even have to be in the net most times when he's on the ice, but just having those guys stick up for me and just play for me, and I think everyone on the team has each other's backs, and just to be able to play behind those guys, you trust them so much that you're going to be like, they're not going to let anything in, and even when they do, I know that I got their backs because they got my back.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, they're fun to watch as well. You talk about, Reese especially and Bartha blocking shots. They go offensively just as well. So it's been really fun to watch. I got to ask you again a really big picture question here, Callum. You seem like a grown up, so I'll ask you a grown up question. When you were recruited to play for the Terriers a couple of years ago, the Terriers were not maybe the Terriers that they are now. Again, no disrespect to anybody, but Emery, was just coming in. It was fresh and new, and they were not coming off very great years for a community that, to be quite frank, expects, it seems, that you guys are very, very competitive. So just talk about maybe the job that Emery and staff and community, and obviously you as boys, more importantly, have done to really change the narrative, I guess, about this Yorkton Terriers franchise.
Yeah, I think just like when I first came in, obviously I'm from Alberta, so I was kind of more focused on playing on the Alberta League out there. But then my goalie coach is actually childhood friends with Emery, so he kind of got me out there, and then I didn't know what to expect. Like I I didn't really know much about the team or like the league. I was more focused on the AJ. But when I came in and then got to meet everyone, and that last season just started off on a super high note, like I think especially like I think the year before I kind of heard that the Terriers like in the rink, it was kind of a library in there. That's the first thing I heard about them. But I think just Emery getting us out in the community and like it just really helps. Like when there's people in the stands, you're so much more motivated to play better. And I think we've like just kept getting more and more people in the stands, and it's helped us a lot. And I think just obviously Emery's recruiting has been amazing, and then just all the guys on our team, like the culture's great in the room and everything like that. So it's been really good.
Yeah, for sure. And like you mentioned, the fan base in Yorkton, very long-standing, very proud fan base. Obviously, there was a lot made about that, and they have come out in droves. They've done a great job by everyone there in Yorkton, so shout out there. Let's look back at your rookie season a little bit, because 17 of your wins came last year. 17-9 last year as a rookie, but you were kind of in tandem with Ethan Farrow, who had some experience prior to that. What did you take away from working with Ethan so closely that you brought into this year even? Because again, he had played, I think, 30-something games the year before, so he was thrown into the fire with that Yorkton Terriers team, and then you guys last year kind of steadied the ship a little bit. What did you take away from Ethan from last year?
Yeah, Farrow was a great goalie partner. Like we pushed each other so much just on the ice. Like he kind of taught me just how to be a junior hockey player. Like it's especially good because we get to go on the ice like whenever we want, and just stay out there however long we want. So like last year, me and Farrow would just kind of do like goalie sessions. We'd grab a couple players and we kind of just like do a couple drills after practice. And like I think he was really good at just teaching me like how to be a steady goaltender. Like he's ripping it up right now in Red Deer. So I think just having him as my kind of mentor my first year was a really good thing for me.
Yeah, or as we call it around here, SJHLU. Because
yeah, right.
Like the whole team is SJHL.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I got to ask you too, Callum, about the fact that teams that have, I guess, the firepower that your team has. You think obviously that top line, but there's lots of skilled guys throughout the lineup. I don't need to tell you. But often in that situation, sometimes teams can get a little, I don't know, focused on offense. I don't want to use the word cheating because I feel like you guys do play the right way, but a lot of offensive guys isn't always as fun for the goalies. So I guess just talk about, maybe playing behind a team that has the firepower that you guys have, and I guess the messaging maybe from the coaching staff to take care of business, because you guys do want to go like on a really long run. You guys found a way to get through round one last year. But obviously you have bigger views, bigger hopes than that. So maybe I guess the bigger question is, where's the process in terms of where you see this team going to be ready for a long run in the playoffs?
Like obviously, I think this team can go win the championship. I 100% believe in this group, and like just coming from the like offensive standpoint, like from a goalie, like you'd think, as you said, it's kind of when there's more offensive guys, it's a little bit harder for me because there's more odd man rushes against or whatever. But like just when they are able to score like that and give you support, like even some of the games, maybe I'm not having my best game and like the team scores and we come back and we win. Like that's just so important to me, just because like I love winning. Like that's probably one of my favorite things to do. And just to be able to play in front of a team that scores for you, and then like even like you'll have their back sometimes, even when someone makes a mistake. But just having that team that scores for you, I think, is a really good group, and we're totally ready to go on a long playoff run here.
Love that. Yeah, for sure. Now, it's out now, so I can say it because I'm not spoiling anything, but you were named SaskTel Goalie of the Week this week, and obviously you had a shutout against Humboldt. I think it was Friday, right? 34-save shutout. Yeah. What went right in that game? Because you mentioned the team scoring in front of you. You did your job to a T in that game. So Humboldt's pushing right now. How did that game go for you?
Yeah, well, obviously every game in this league is an absolute like dogfight till the end. So you never take an opponent lightly. And even though Humboldt's kind of fighting for a playoff spot there, like we knew it was going to be a hard game. And I think just as a team, just we've become like so much better defensively over this year that I think it just really helped me. Like obviously a shutout is the goalie played well, but to have a shutout, the team also has to play well in front of you too. And I think just everyone's kind of going here. Like we're blocking shots and we're scoring when it matters. Like it's just going on all cylinders here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, all right, Callum, it's time for Nugesy's Rapid Fire. Do you know what Nugesy's Rapid Fire is?
I think so.
I've
seen a little bit.
Just rapid fire.
Quick questions.
Quick questions. Answers. I assumed that somebody knew. I forget who I was talking to. I assumed he knew what it was, and he's like, "Huh?" And I was
Never heard of it.
Okay. I think it was Mamich, and he was a humble Broncos. He watched Rory doing Rory's Rapid Fire. Anyways. Whatever. We'll move on.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you. First question for you. When you guys raised the most money for Movember. Congratulations on that as a club. So that was awesome. And Ty Henriksen organized a little pizza party, I guess, for you guys on the league, which I hope again you guys enjoyed. How would you rate that pizza?
That pizza, I'd say solid 8.5 out of 10. It's pretty solid pizza, especially it's good when you don't have to pay for it. So
yeah, that's
I'll
the best. Yeah.
That.
Where did you guys even order from? I don't even know. You know?
Got it from Pizza Hut in Yorkton, which is I'd say that's the best spot.
Can't go wrong. I gotta ask you about my favorite spot. Well, I've got 2 favorite Calgary spots. Well, 3. We could go on forever. I've got 3 favorite Calgary spots, but one of my favorite Calgary spots is Singapore Sam's because they have the gluten-free Chinese food, and I'm a gluten-free guy. But their food is just unbelievable, anyways. What is your usual Singapore Sam's order?
I've never been there before. This is the first time hearing this, so
it's a big city.
When I'm back,
it is a big city.
Maybe when I'm back, I'll have to try it.
Yeah,
what is your go-to Calgary spot then?
Yeah.
I like it's called Costa Vida. It's kind of next to my house. They got like Mexican food there. I think it's semi-healthy, so
love that.
There you go.
I like going out there.
Okay, we'll have to stop there.
Yeah, what an unbelievable place. I love Globefish Kensington, big sushi guy, and the sushi there at Globefish is unbelievable. Anyways, what is your goalie hero? I always like to say, like, you know, who do you like to play like, but everybody's a little bit different. But who is your goalie hero?
Like, obviously, growing up in Calgary, my dad, he had season tickets to the Flames, so I'm a massive Flames fan, and just growing up as a kid going to the games, I would watch Mika Kiprusoff just play an absurd amount of games, and he was just he's one of the best goalies ever, so I'd have to say he's my hero.
I like that.
Awesome,
good answer.
Awesome answer.
Good answer.
Obviously, we talk about the Yorkton Terriers, and it's impossible not to mention that top line: Gabe Corshane, Jai Zawatsky, William Leonard. So I'm going to get you in a little bit of trouble here, and probably myself in a little bit of trouble, and that's okay. I'm used to it. I really am. Which of the big 3 has your number, like in practice, and which of the big 3 there do you kind of own?
I have to say the one that has my number the most is definitely Lenny. Just because his shot is like, you think he's going to rip it, and then it just kind of flutters in, and you just can't save it. It's such a weird kind of shot, and it's fooling goalies everywhere, so I'm glad he's on my team.
Yes, I can imagine.
But I'd say the guy I have my number, or who I have his number is Korsh. Korsh can't score on me at all in practice.
Bulletin board
he
material.
Won't admit it.
Bulletin board
he
material.
He won't admit it, but he can.
Put it up. Put it up there. Love that. Hey, fair enough.
Yeah.
What is your biggest dream like as a goalie? Is it the big save? Is it scoring a goal yourself? Like which of those 2 is bigger to you?
Yeah, I'd say like obviously scoring a goalie goal would be pretty cool, but I think just when you go to bed at night and you dream, you're thinking about like that big save to like win the championship, like kind of Marc-Andre Fleury when he played the Red Wings, that huge save with time expiring just to win the championship, and that's what I dream about more.
Very cool. And last one for you then, what is your favorite save to make? And what, like, I don't want to like provide scouting report material, but what save do you think maybe is like the most challenging for you?
I'd say favorite save to make is easily the big windmill glove save.
Sure.
I'll do that as much as I can. Maybe a little bit too much, but
there you go. Next time I'm calling you at one of your games, I'll be like, did you need to do that? No, just kidding.
Excessive.
No, just kidding. And what would you say is maybe the most challenging save?
I feel like just when it goes off your head and you're kind of like ringing in your head a little bit and you're kind of dazed, I say the next save after that is probably one of the hardest saves.
Fair enough. That's a good answer.
That's a great answer.
That's a really smart answer.
All right, Callum. Well, I know you guys got a big finish to the season here and then a playoff run because you guys have clinched a spot. So we'll let you get back to it, but appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, man.
There you go. Callum Craig, a Calgary product, but making the Yorkton Terriers
We will call
proud.
him Craig.
Yeah, call him Craig. Yeah, sure. Good one.
It's not a good one. I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to hit a break. When we come back, hey, Steve Turner, by the way. Unbelievable.
He is unbelievable.
Absolutely. When we come back from this break, we're going to give you players of the week. We kind of teased it a little bit, a couple of the winners. We'll give you the rest after the break. We'll prime you up for Tuesday and Wednesday's schedule and a little bit more, so stick around until after the break.
Feeling left out of can't-miss moments? RBC has programs and resources to help you open the door. RBC clients get access to concerts, Avion rewards, and exclusive benefits. Your idea of memorable moments happens here.
Each year, the SCSA issues over 10,000 training certificates to the construction professionals who build our province. That is the same population as Weyburn. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
Every ticket you buy funds programs all across Saskatchewan, like arts and culture. Buy your tickets today.
Introducing SaskTel Student Saving Tips. Tip number 138. You could build your own pallet furniture.
So you're living on your own. You can save money by building furniture with pallets.
Or get Infinet 150 for only $50 a month with SaskTel student deals.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
All right, welcome back. It's final segment of SJHL Weekly. Clark with Nugsy here. Let's get into it now as we talk about this week's Players of the Week. As you can see, we ripped the cards open. We'll give you a new batch of winners, but a couple of repeat winners. So let's dive into it now as we get the SGEU MVP of the week from the Nipawin Hawks. It's Mason Karkachuk. This guy is in the front-running spot, I would say, for MVP of the month for the month of February. He's had a great month. Him and his teammates, we'll talk about one later on, but a very good month. And of course, he won last week as well. So he's really putting his name out there for the MVP of the month for February. The Borgo Forward of the Week. Love to see this guy's name pop up. Drew Mushamansky of the Melfort Mustangs. 5 points in 2 games. He had a 4-point game, of course, in there. So he had a big week, and his offense is really shining through lately, Nugsy. So good to see, like I said, his name pop in here for the Forward of the Week. We'll stick with the Melfort Mustangs for the Defenseman of the Week. For Super U, it's Bo Eisner. We talked about his excellent performance as of late. 3 goals in the last 2 games. This week for him, and he's a huge reason why they've won 8 straight games.
And a noted fan of hot sauce.
And a noted fan of hot sauce, apparently. Yeah. And we'll tell you why that matters when
in the future.
When in the future.
That's a spoiler.
Yeah, a spoiler. Yeah. We have a little teaser for hopefully some good news around Bo Eisner. That's what we'll say. The SaskTel goalie of the week, we just talked to him, Callum Craig. And we will Callum Craig, as we mentioned. 34 save shutout against 34 save shutout against the Humboldt Broncos. As we mentioned, he entered the top 10 all time in Yorkton Terriers goalie wins.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Very impressive, and it's a very impressive list of goalies, and he's now putting himself in a position. He's 30 wins back of number 1 on that list, so that would be a lot. But I mean, hey, if he has a good finish to this season, maybe adds 3 or 4 more wins to his list now. Next year, who knows?
Yeah, clearly a terrific kid. And also go to Yorkton Terriers social media. They're doing a wonderful job, by the way, with their social media in Yorkton these days. And give that post a like. Check out some of those names on that top 10 all-time list. A couple names jump out. Cale Thompson, obviously, won the RBC Cup there with the Terriers last time. A SJHL team won the RBC Cup. So
he was
there you go.
a monster.
He was a monster.
The Sask Milk Rookie of the Week. We'll stick in the net. We'll go over to Warman. It's Griffin Wright. He had a huge game against the Estevan Bruins. What was it, 35 saves, I think, 34 saves. 1 goal only, and they got the win, of course, with the .971 save percentage. So shout out to Griffin Wright, a big win for the Warman Wolverines on Saturday. And then the Canterra Seeds Saskatchewan Player of the Week from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. It's Eric Hoynes, and this guy, if we talked about Mason Karkachuk in terms of monthly award winners, this guy's probably on his way to something. One of the awards he'll probably be named in just a week's time. Next week, we'll have the Players of the Month for February. So he's also lining himself up really nicely for that. So shout out to Eric Hoynes and the Nipawin Hawks as well. They've been having a huge stretch here. So there you go. There's the Players of the Week. Nugsy, any thoughts on those guys before we move on to the upcoming schedule here? You want to touch on any of you guys?
Obviously, again, big shout out to Sean Shields, because we do talk about the vets on that line. But Shields is a rookie. Obviously, we talk about Cash Olsen and the job that he's done on that big line for Estevan with Rylan Williams and Ewan Rennie, who's just been an absolute monster lately, as well as usual for Estevan. But similar situation. Sean Shields in a great spot, taking full advantage on the right side of that line there with Hoynes in the middle and Karkachuk. And not only does Hoynes, score goals and make points happen, but he's killing penalties, he's blocking shots. Between him and Jack Jansen, when whoever is centering their PK unit there for Nipawin, it's no wonder why their PK is so good, because usually the puck starts the other side of the ice, like when Nipawin's on the PK. That's the great way to live. Yeah, and so when you look at it, I guess we're giving a shout out to Sean Shields here, but 32 games played, so he's 14 to 15 less than a lot of the guys at the top of the rookie scoring list in terms of games played. But 24 points, and if you did the math on that, if you added, he'd be top 5 or so in points per game for rookies. Yeah. But also most of his points, and if you click on his page, a lot of his points have come since January 9th. I'm going to say half or more of his points have come in the last month and a bit. So he's on fire right now. You can complain. You can say oh, I need an opportunity. The coach won't give you an opportunity. What will you do when you get it? And Sean Shields, Tad said, here's an opportunity, kid. Here's Mason Karkachuk, Eric Hoynes, 2 of the best players in our league, to play with you. What are you going to do?
And he's doing it.
18
of his 24 points have
big
come.
Time credit, Mr. Shields.
Yeah, 18 of his 24 points have
and
come
Mason
since
Mason and Eric will be the first 2 to say,
for sure,
they need Sean as much as he needs them.
So. Absolutely. Yeah. So there you go. There's the Players of the Week and an honorable mention, apparently. So shout out to Sean Shields. Let's have a look at the upcoming schedule for Tuesday, because there is actually 3 games on Tuesday. So you can see there that the Larange Ice Wolves will be heading down to Melville to take on the Mills. And then Nipawin, wow. You talk about a heavyweight matchup, Nipawin and Flin Flon. Yeah. Will this be the night that maybe Flin Flon's perfect record at home is compromised? We'll see. And not on this list, but it was a rescheduled game from earlier this year. The Weyburn Red Wings will be in Melfort at the Northern Lights Palace with, Melfort a win there. They need that win. Weyburn with a win would move up in the standings possibly a little bit. So that's going to be a big game too.
That's going to be juicy.
That's a big game
come on, Flin Flon fans.
Also a rematch of the finals, I guess, from last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's been a while, eh?
Yeah. It's kind of weird to say that at this point of the year.
But both of those teams want those points.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
That's a big one. And then on Wednesday, one more game. Larange continues their southern road trip there, I guess, and they'll be in Yorkton. Larange plays Melville again on Friday. So a big Parkland region week for the Larange Ice Wolves. And Yorkton with a win would inch themselves a little bit closer, because Battlefords isn't playing midweek. So they would inch themselves possibly a little bit closer to second place. And also a Bungie Division Championship. So they need those points as well. It's a big game on Wednesday for them, for sure. And you know, Laurent's on a road trip. They're going to want to finish off the season strong. So there you go. There's a look at the upcoming couple of days. Nugsy, I'm going to throw final words to you. Final words.
Well, you know, it's interesting. The Flin Flon Bombers can't stay healthy right now. And they are looking for some veteran guys to come back. Still waiting for Ryder Knutson. Still waiting for Connor Miller. But they did get, you know, Landon Alexander back, and I think that's big. But you know what? Banana peel time here for Flin Flon. If you want that perfect season, and I know they don't want to talk about it, perfect home season, you better gear up tomorrow, because boy, oh boy, those Hawks are coming fast.
Yeah, they're coming.
Get your tickets. I want to see a full Whitney Forum.
Yeah.
And, you know, when Rob Hart is on the call talking about, you know, I wish there was more people here, that's not great. So get out there, Whitney Forum fans. We know you can show up and show out. It's going to be a great one tomorrow
And
night.
you know that Nipawin fans travel pretty good,
Well, it's
too.
not that crazy far away.
Yeah,
I mean, easy
so
for me to say, but
might,
compared to other trips to Flin Flon, that's not the worst one.
Absolutely. It's one of the better ones if you think about it. There you go. We'll thank our sponsors one more time before we head out for the day. Of course, that starts with Cantera Seeds, Canalta Hotels, Capital Auto Mall, SGEU, Sask Lotteries, UPL. Which, by the way, we just got an email gearing up for the playoffs. UPL is, of course, our playoff sponsor. We have an overtime challenge in the playoffs. We have a performer of the night in the playoffs, all sponsored by UPL. So shout out to them. And it's coming up quick. Chevrolet, Great Western Brewing Company, SaskTel, RBC, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, and Vaderstad. So thank you to all of our sponsors, and make sure you follow us on all of our social media channels across the board: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. On YouTube, of course, please subscribe. We're inching closer towards 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. We'd love you to help us out there if you haven't already. And of course, get your Flow Hockey subscription to watch all the games online if you can't make it to the rink. Nugsy, thank you so much for today. Bryce, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, way to work through today on this Black Monday. I know you guys are pretty depressed, but you guys dominated, put together a heck of a show.
You know,
way to work through it.
Typical American. I felt like me and Nugsy dominated almost all of the show today, and then the American comes in right at the end and puts on the winning touch.
Just one more.
Jack, whatever, Jack. I mean, Bryce.
Bryce, yeah. Thanks, Bryce. Thank you, Connor. Thank you to. Wow, why am I blanking on this?
Jordan Blaget.
I've worked with the guy almost every day for 5 straight years, and I blanked. Jordan, thank you, Jordan.
Good effort, but still an L.
No, that was bad. I had Steven on my brain because he commented in earlier, so I was getting confused in my own head, which I think is a good sign to maybe shut it down. So
go Blue Jays.
There's Steven.
Go Blue Jays.
Go Blue Jays. Enjoy the hockey this week, everyone. It's going to be great. We'll see you on SJHL Insider on Thursday. Bye for now.
I'm not allowed to stand up for myself? I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.